Okay, now we know what is shape layer. So let's create a background. So for background, we can use this rectangle tool. If you cannot see a rectangle tool, just left mouse click and hold, and you'll have this drop-down menu. From here, you can choose this rectangle tool. I'm still holding down my left mouse click, and I'm going to select this rectangle tool. And here is a cool trick. If you left mouse double click on this icon, you will create a rectangle exact same size as your window here. So let's left double mouse click here. It created new rectangle. By the way, if for some reason you cannot create new rectangle with left double mouse click, you can just simply select it and draw a rectangle like this. It also works. In my case, I already created with left double mouse click. So now let's have a little overview what settings we have on our shape. First of all, we have these quick menus here for fill and stroke, but also you can just click here on this drop-down menu and go to rectangle, which we created, and you see also this stroke and fill, which we can see here. But also we will have transform options exactly for this shape. And by the way, these settings are just for this shape which we created. And what I mean by saying this is that you can create another shape. Just by selecting your shape layer, you can create another shape like this. And as you can see, it's created another rectangle. And you have the same settings as here for this new shape. But this is more kind of advanced technique, which we will come back later in this class. So for now, let's delete this rectangle. Just keep in mind that we can create a bunch of shape layers inside of one shape layer. But for start, we are going to start easy. So our first step is to create our background. We can click on this shape layer, press Enter on keyboard, and rename it. I'll call it background or just BG for background. So now, as you know, we have this fill and stroke options. You can get from here, which is much easier. Let's close it here for now and select our shape layer. And now we can adjust our fill and stroke. So as you can guess, stroke is this outline, which we don't want to have. We can click on this stroke, word stroke, and change it to none and click OK. In this way, we can completely get rid of the stroke. And now we can click on this word fill and change the fill types. In my case, I want to use this radial gradient. As you can see, we have this none, solid color, linear gradient, and radial gradient. So let's click on it. Make sure that opacity is set to 100, so it would be visible and we would not have any transparency. And click OK. So now, as you can see, we created this gradient fill. We can change to this selection tool to be able to manipulate our gradient. For example, now if we will select our shape layer and then select gradient fill, you'll see this line, which allows us to spread our gradient. So if I'm gonna click here on this little handle and drag it to the right, and now we can change the colors of this gradient. We can click here to change the color, and here on these points, we can change any of these colors. We can even add a new point by clicking here just below this line and add a new color. And now, as you can see, we have this white color and this black color and this blue color in between. In this way, we can create any kind of patterns of our gradient. But for now, I want to create a simple kind of gradient. So to remove some colors, you can just click and drag it down to delete, or just click and click delete. In this way, we will have only 2 points of colors, and we can change this brighter one to like this darkish blue. So here you basically changing the color, and here we can change the brightness. And as you can see in my original example, I've used this kind of gradient. So let's also set it to this bluish and dark kind of color, just by changing this dot over here and brightness set to about here. And this black part we are not going to change because we want to have this kind of vignette darkening on the edge. And let's click OK. Now we can close it here. And by the way, at any point you can now select your background and change here from fill to any color which you want. And if you want to change your gradient, you can just open here, go to gradient fill, and just spread it a bit more. if you want to have your edge not so dark. And if you will scroll on the mouse with the wheel, you can zoom in and zoom out into your window and adjust this gradient as you like. I think it looks great. And in the next class, we are going to create our first circle and we are going to animate it. See you in the next video.